It's Rut and River.
Yes.
Correct.
R-U-T.
I rest my beard hair on it.
And then you know you're there.
Like a nice, gentle little pillow for my beard.
Right.
And then I'm all up in it.
Oh.
I'm like Kobe beef for sharks.
Can I ask you, what made you guys call me up about, well, this?
It's what tickles our fancy.
Exactly.
Okay.
Thought the Rocky Mountains would be rockier.
John Denver is not accurate.
A guy like you, who has absolutely no clue, and I can hear it in your voice, that, I mean, you're a blank canvas. I mean, I just start with you like from scratch.
You're going to tell me, a grown man, you're telling me what lure to use and how to fish?
You guys didn't snap your whopper plopper off either then.
Sorry, I blew up over that.
Welcome back to the Rut and River Pursuit podcast. You are around the Sonic Campfire. Guys, we have a great week, but who's around the table?
I'm Catfish.
I'm Steve.
I'm Will.
Hey, it's Bucky.
And this is Dave.
Deke.
Guys,
David Kyle.
I'm excited.
Yeah?
Yeah. Our guest.
You can't be this excited.
Oh, I definitely am. We have Cable Smith from Lone Star Outdoor Show.
Lone Star.
Nice.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, man.
It sounds like it's from
Howdy,
Texas.
howdy.
Here he is.
Hey, Cable.
What's up, buddy?
How's it going?
Hey, boss.
So how are you doing, Cable? For those who don't know, which I'm surprised if you don't, who are you and where you're from?
I am from North Texas. Been here my entire life with a couple stints at various educational institutions throughout the state, but did get a degree in radio, TV, film. So one of the few people, I guess, who actually still use their college degree.
Wow.
Man.
Yeah,
Congrats,
so-
man.
I don't know if we're allowed to play on the same field as you, bud.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Hang up on us.
Yeah. Well, thank you for stepping down to this non-educated.
Welcome to community college.
Yes.
Oh, I didn't. To be honest with you, I wanted to do sports talk radio, but everybody wanted to do that.
Well, this is better
So-
sports talk radio, right?
Oh my God, yeah! I fell into it. I took a job in East Texas at a small radio station, and my boss was like, "Oh, you got to host a weekly hunting and fishing show."
No way.
At that time, yeah. And at
twist
that
my
time, I mean,
arm.
I grew up fishing, and had just kind of gotten going into duck hunting, and a little bit of deer hunting, and I just fell in love with the people in the industry. And I mean, you could call anyone up and say, "Hey, you want to?" would you come on my show?
You can say that again.
Yeah. And there might be 5 people listening in East Texas, and they'd be like, sure, I'll come on, whether it was Ted Nugent or, whoever. Back then I used to get a little more starstruck. Be like, oh my God, Ted Nugent came on my show.
Yeah.
Again.
It was the coolest thing. But yeah, so that was almost 10 years ago. And then got married and decided, well, actually, Obama got elected and the economy went in the crapper, and all of our local, so all of our local truck, Dodge, Chevy, Ford dealerships started closing, and that was a lot of our advertising budget. And my boss was like, I can't afford to pay anymore, so moved back to the North Texas area and thought, well, what am I going to do with my life? And I really liked that outdoor show I was doing for the last year. And just kind of went out on a limb, and back then there wasn't podcasts, that was a foreign thing a decade ago. Now everybody has a podcast, which was an interesting thing. I was like, man, all these podcasts start coming out, and I was like, this is going to make everything so much more competitive, and it's going to suck for me personally, business wise. But it's been the exact opposite, because now everybody can listen to anything they want, whenever they want, and the more information is, it's better, and it's better for the hunting industry
More is
as a
more,
whole,
for sure.
Yeah. So I'm thrilled to be on you guys' podcast. So thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Hey, you're welcome. Cable, you mentioned you were absolutely prepared to do that hunting and fishing show. How were you prepared? How'd you get into hunting and fishing?
I don't ever remember a time where I didn't fish. Earliest memories, my dad's a huge bass fisherman, not a big hunter. So I honestly didn't grow up around guns. It's kind of something I picked up in college. I got a lab with a girlfriend. She left. The lab stayed. Some of my buddies were like, come on, we're going duck hunting.
Been there, buddy.
Yeah. And I was like, they were like, bring your lab. And I was like, that lab is so scared of fireworks. He's not going to want to do that. Besides that, I want to drink beer and chase girls. You guys have your fun. They're like, no, you're going. I was like, all right, fine, I'll come. But I had to go buy a shotgun. Had to go buy a Remington 870.
Oh, darn.
And, yeah. Well, you know, back then, I don't know what they were, like $250 back then, but that was a lot for me.
Yeah.
I think I had to save up bartending for a couple weeks. And so anyway, I went and took the dog, and they all sucked at duck hunting, and I did too. And we just missed. And there was ducks, but we just kept missing and missing. And the dog just sat there. I had to tie him to the blind. He was so scared.
I wonder if I break up with Danny if I'll get the dog.
I mean, you should try.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's worth it.
But anyway, finally, somebody, by the grace of God, hit a duck, and I let old Maverick off his leash, and he went and brought the duck back. That was it. Never gun shy again.
No
so
kidding.
that was,
No way.
Wow.
yeah. That was,
That's how you break a dog from being gun shy.
No, it's
yeah. Just shoot over them a lot.
well, my dad always broke our gun dogs by taking them bass fishing with us. And we would take the shotguns on the John boat out on the river, and we would shoot the guns, and the dog would eventually stop jumping off the boat. and all of a sudden, he wouldn't be afraid of guns anymore.
Would you shoot?
I love it.
Yeah, that's a tip from an old school double amputee, grouchy Pennsylvania hunter. If your dog's afraid of guns, take him bass fishing. Take your shotgun with you.
Yeah,
That's great.
I like it. Yeah. But so that was the beginning for me. The dog was hooked. I mean, it was that first duck. And then the next weekend, I was looking up local WMAs to take me and him duck hunting by ourselves. At that point, they all wanted to go drink beer and chase girls, and I was like, no, screw that. I'm going duck hunting.
Yeah.
Isn't the addiction crazy, especially in the first couple of years? You can't sleep or breathe or think of anything but being away from wherever you are if you're not hunting.
Yeah, and I'm sure for you guys that got into waterfowling hardcore when I was especially younger, we'd spend the night at the lake just to save our spot.
Right.
And then we'd put a guy who doesn't hunt, that just likes to party, he'd come drink beer, and we just put him in a sleeping bag like 100 yards down the bank. So he would take that spot, and we'd go hang flashlights up 100 yards in every direction so we could keep all the Barneys away from us. That's what we call them in Texas, the Barneys, the public land guys that sky blast and...
That's funny.
Do you need a sleeping bag guy still?
We got a couple Bonnies around the table here.
Bonnie's.
No, I want to be the guy that just sleeps in the
Just
sleeper.
hangs out and drinks and
yeah. I'll sky bust if you need me to.
So we just had on the podcast another fellow that was talking about some of that I didn't realize that waterfowl hunting in Texas was so competitive for spots. Like
guys will stab you over it.
That's what I heard.
Wow.
That's what I heard. It's nuts.
Yeah.
Wow.
So I still buy my my public land. In Texas, you can buy public land, basically the hunting pass permit, and I still go just for nostalgia's sake. And that lab, he's dead. He died a couple years ago, but I've got a new lab now. And we go out there, and it's kind of all the memories from that. And plus, I like to, you're still supporting conservation. You buy that, that public land permit, and it's hard. I like to. Sometimes it's a good hunt. Sometimes it's not. Sometimes if it really gets cold and freezes here for multiple days, the best place to go is the reservoir. I mean, that's where all the ducks are. That's the only open water around. So I still go every year, but now at this point in life, you get a lot of invites to go hunt public or private ponds with buddies, and you sleep in a little later, and it almost seems too easy, to be honest, these days.
Well, you're flying to Texas tomorrow. How long is your flight?
It's 4
hours
ish. Yeah.
I didn't. Bear with me. I didn't realize that North Texas actually froze like that.
Oh yeah.
Like I didn't put that 2 and 2 together.
Amarillo's already seen the teens.
Yeah. Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, Amarillo's a lot colder than here. But I'd say about every other year we get one of those freezes, where it gets really, really cold and all the ponds freeze, and then just, all the ducks have to go to the lake. And that's where you're going to find me then.
Am I going to regret not taking snake boots?
Oh, yeah, don't come to Texas without snake boots.
Oh, no.
You're going to get bit, buddy.
Can I get
Don't
them at
do it.
Walmart?
You need to look at the. I put an Instagram video of me stepping on a rattlesnake's head a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
It's yeah. I would definitely. I don't go anywhere without them.
Well, we don't necessarily need them here. I mean, you can.
Just wear 2 pair of socks.
I'm not gonna jinx. I'm not gonna
Wool
jinx
ones.
myself.
Wool
but
ones.
I've been tramping around these woods for a long time, and I've never gotten bitten a leg. I mean, not by. I've been bitten by ones we've messed with, but not.
Right.
But
You
in
got-
Pennsylvania, we don't have the number of rattlesnakes to worry about. It's like.
Do you guys have any rattlesnakes up there?
Oh yeah.
Eastern Diamondbacks, yes.
No, we don't.
Oh wow.
Timbers.
There's no Eastern Diamondback in Pennsylvania. You have a Timbler rattler and a Massasauga rattlesnake. Look at your map. There's no Eastern Diamondbacks in Pennsylvania. And we also have what's called a copperhead. And
Yeah, we have those. Yeah.
yeah, so the rattlesnakes will actually give you a warning. The copperhead just bites you because it's a jerk and you can't
I
see
hate
it.
those guys.
Jerk con.
Yeah. Well, you should come into contact with a cottonmouth. Those are meaner.
Oh, they'll
than either one of
chase you.
those.
No, we don't want
Yeah,
that. We don't
they're
want them.
nasty.
They'll chase you
But
down.
you said you mentioned the rattlesnakes giving you a warning. There's a study. Ongoing research. They're trying to figure out if these feral hogs are causing the rattlesnakes not to rattle because they'll kill them. And so they're kind of like people think that they're evolving because people get bit and they're like, it never rattled at me.
Why
And
don't tell me that?
That's crazy.
The hog-
Wait a minute. I want to hear more about this because that's interesting.
I don't want to hear about it.
The
I don't
hogs
know
will
if the
kill
hogs
them.
eat them or if they just kill them.
The hogs kill the snakes.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
man.
So it's
Run
interesting.
into that.
Will's one of 2 people in Pennsylvania that wants to bring feral hogs to Pennsylvania to hunt.
I'm like,
Don't do it.
Oh, he's all in, but
But
talk him out of it. Please.
Now you're
it
telling
was
me
a
if we bring
notion.
feral hogs to Pennsylvania, then
They'll
we're
beat
going to
up
get
on
bit
our
by rattlesnakes.
they're beating up on our snake population.
Yeah. So,
So while we're talking about that, how is your feral hog situation going in Texas?
it's going. Yeah, strong. I would say. Yeah. You guys that are coming down here next week, you're going to see it firsthand.
Really?
I'd be surprised if you don't have a couple encounters, especially with, knowing where you're going, South Texas somewhere. It's quite a problem, but it's at the same time, it's like a love-hate relationship. Hate them 3 months of the year. They're running deer off our feeders, just, tearing stuff up. And then
Why don't
the
you,
rest of the year, it's fun
why
to
don't
hunt
you
them.
come down with us?
Oh, yeah, well, I would, except I'd taken my son to the deer lease. He's 5 and he's not going to hunt. He's still at BB gun status.
I don't think we didn't tell anybody. So what I guess I can say it. What I'm actually doing is we're flying out tomorrow, and we're taking Jeremiah Dowdy's from field to plate class.
Nice.
It's
That's going to be so much fun.
from field to plate 101.
Cool.
So
Yeah,
that dude,
that is going to be an awesome time.
yeah, he's next level with the wild game cooking. So
Yeah, it's crazy too because he hasn't been doing it that long, and he'll even tell you, I don't if it's 5 or 6 years or whatever, but
yeah.
the amount of knowledge that he's amassed on butchering and cooking in that time frame it's mind blowing. I always find great inspiration from his dishes and stuff.
I
for my
think he
own
has like
cooking.
he adds a freezer a year. Like it's like he was saying, like he has like
6 months worth.
a broth freezer. Like there's it's like
And crazy broth, like stock from every animal he's ever killed. He's kept the
But
bones.
didn't he say like rattlesnake broth?
Yes.
Yeah.
Coyote, bobcat.
Yeah.
What else do I need to get into? Raccoon.
You name it, bud.
Yeah. If you can shoot it and he eats it, man.
It's
Yeah, I'm going to draw the line at coyote. I've eaten bobcat, and it was disgusting.
Bobcat was disgusting.
Pretty gross. Yeah, we went on a thermal hunt here in Texas, and with some guys from Missouri came down to my buddy's place in Seymour. And
Don't let
Anyway.
Jeremiah hear you say that. He'll cook it for you so that you
He'll
enjoy it.
make you like it.
Yeah.
well, okay, so we did it 2 ways, and one way was absolutely just raunchy, disgusting, and the other way was edible. I wouldn't say it was good, but it was okay. I shot this bobcat, and I was like, bring it back. My buddy's like, let's eat it. And I was like, sure, yeah, let's eat it. Why wouldn't we? And so we skin it and we take the back straps and he's like, I just want to get the full flavor. So we didn't put a lick of seasoning on it. We just threw it on the grill.
Wait, was this a male or a female?
It was a female.
All right, so you got that going for you.
East of the Rockies.
Well, no,
So
because testosterone.
There was like 5 of us, and passed that thing around. And everyone took one bite. It was the most powerfully disgusting bite of meat I've ever had. It was just it was absolutely awful.
Wow.
So we took the other backstrap and we threw it in the slow cooker with some barbecue sauce, and basically made it pulled pork out of it, to compare it to something.
Sure.
Came back after like 6 hours of hunting, and it was like 3 a.m, and everybody ate some of it and was like, "Yeah, that's not bad." And threw some pickles and onions and barbecue sauce and put it on a bun, and I mean, we ate it. I'd say I killed a mountain lion, and that was actually pretty good.
Yeah.
So
I heard that
I don't know
that's
why it's better.
some of the best
Yeah.
meat ever, but I've never had it.
But the coyote, I'm out on that.
Understandable.
I'd try it. I wouldn't cook it myself. I'd try it if you said, "Hey, I made this coyote jerky." Okay, I'll have a bite of it.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
So you mentioned you're going to go to the deer lease this weekend, taking your son out. That's great that you're introducing him. What are some of your steps with having a young son to get them to be introduced to the outdoors?
Well, he was dove hunting. He doesn't know it because he was only like 11 months old, but he was dove hunting it in a stroller while I was sitting there with the gun and the dog.
Oh, nice.
I mean, and then he's gone dove hunting every year since then. The last 2 years, he's taken an interest and has wanted to clean them and, help. I gave him a BB gun for Christmas right after he was about to turn 5. So he's had that for almost a year, and it stays in the safe with all my guns. He's only allowed to shoot it if he asks, and I supervise him. But he does, he gets to take it on when we go dove hunting or duck hunting. He gets to take the BB gun and shoot it. But he's not mature enough, and he's not big enough to handle, a rifle. I see other guys whose kids are 4 or 5 years old shooting deer, and I think, more power to them. That's great. I think it's just everybody knows their own kid, and
Yeah, it's a case-by-case basis.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I want him to, if it freaks him out, because I hope to shoot a deer or a hog in front of him this weekend. That's the goal, because he's never seen a big game animal get shot, and I wanted to experience that, see how it gets cleaned. My kids are very in tune with everything in our freezer is something that Dad shot or caught, and they think that's totally normal. Like, they think dove hearts are like the best snack in the world.
That's awesome.
Perception's reality with our kids these days, and
Yeah. Awesome.
so hopefully he'll enjoy the experience, and then he'll start saying, "Hey, Dad, I want to do that."
How do you get the dove hearts like that? I mean, I only shoot them in the heart, so.
Oh yeah, well, if they're disintegrated, you're SOL. So I'm not that good of a shot.
I honestly think I'm just picking because I think doves are one of the hardest little birds there are to hit in the world. That I get more frustrated hunting doves, and not frustrated. That's the wrong word, but I miss a lot of doves. Shooting doves.
Sounds like the word.
Oh yeah.
They duck and dive, and they're so fast, and I swear I was on it. Bang, bang, bang. Nothing. It just laughs and flies away.
Well, it's funny because everyone will say that third shell, you're just wasting money if you pull the trigger.
Yeah.
But damn it, I always pull the trigger.
Absolutely.
So.
There's a guy that has a job.
That's why it's there.
Guy that has a job making new shotgun shells every day.
Yeah.
Shoot them if you got them.
Mm-hmm. That's right. That's right. They say the average hunter in Texas, it takes 5 shells to kill 1 dove. So
sounds like you guys are doing pretty good then.
We kill like 12 million dove annually.
Man. Yeah, I'd see.
So I'm just like counting the dollar bills in my head for the ammo manufacturers. They're doing all right, huh?
That's a good day to make shells.
We need the R2 shotgun shell company.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Hey, I don't want to change subject, and I'm not going to change subject. Side note, something that I always pictured in Texas. Do you have lightning bugs in Texas?
Yeah, during the summer. Yeah.
Well, you were saying you have the little kids. I didn't know if you guys put them in the mason jar and let them run around in the summer.
I did it as a kid.
Yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely.
I miss that.
Yeah. My kids haven't done it yet. I don't really seen a lot of lightning bugs lately. I don't know.
The lightning bug population's down up here too.
I'm sorry, it was a side. I thought of it, Texas,
you're
because
right.
we were watching. We were watching Lonesome Dove or something one time, and I had to run around. We caught lightning bugs, put them in a mason jar. We run around outside. That was like your first, mag light when you were a kid.
Yeah,
pull off the things and stick them on your hand.
Catfish's first
that's
hunting
what we
experience.
did.
Yeah. My kids harvested about 5 or 6 this year. That's it. Normally it's
a low harvest
dozens.
year.
Yeah.
What's the limit on fireflies?
I don't know, Bach. They don't
I didn't mean to
regulate.
sidetrack. This is my fault.
Sounds like you did.
I'm thinking, like, why have my kids not caught them yet? I think it's because it's literally like
Stevie's got
95
them all.
degrees in the summertime here.
Yeah, you don't want to be.
And I'm probably too old now to want to be outside when it's 95 degrees at night.
I bet 95 in Texas is a lot worse than 95 in Pennsylvania.
Oh, it's humid. It's terrible.
So following you on Instagram, which everybody should definitely click on over there to Instagram. Follow Lone Star Outdoors Show.
Lone
Star on Instagram.
Right.
You've had a busy fall. You want to highlight some of that?
Oh man, yeah. Well, I have not been elk hunting for very long, but I've been backpacking for a long time. Let's see. My dad, in the church I grew up in, him and his buddies started this guys' weekend 30 plus years ago, and they go to New Mexico and they go backpacking and spend like 4 or 5 days in various wilderness areas up in the mountains. And once you turn 21, they're like, "Come on, son, you're old enough." So I'm 37, so I've been going 15, 16 years, something like that. And they never hunted. They just fished. A lot of great trout fishing up there. And I started going, I was like, look at all these grouse around here, man. Why are we not hunting these? So I started bringing a shotgun and started grouse hunting. And I was like, why am I not hunting all these elk that I'm seeing, these mule deer? So I started putting in for tags, and I think I've done I've drawn 3 elk tags in New Mexico and 2 mule deer tags in the last 8 years. So it's doing pretty good on the draws, and then I've gone to Colorado on 2 other elk hunts. But elk hunting has become my absolute favorite thing to do in the world with a bow. I have shot one with a rifle, but they were rutting. But calling an elk into like 20 yards, shooting them at that, or just seeing them, experiencing them. Do you guys turkey hunt? I imagine you do.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So to me, it's like turkey hunting. I mean, except for the animal's 700 pounds instead of 20. It's just absolutely insane. They want to kill you. They're confused. They're like the one that I shot this year, he saw me. I'm looking at this elk face to face, 14 yards, and he's trying to figure out this guy's been bugling at me for 20 minutes now. What is he? But at that point in time, it was too late. The arrow was already in his chest, and it was church. And I don't know. I think it's kind of a year-round commitment to get into the physical shape. And I'm not like triathlon. I still drink plenty of beer, have a little beer gut most of the year. But I spend a lot of time at the gym. I like to do the cardio and certainly like to lift weights.
Yeah.
And man, it's that, and then the training to be proficient with a bow. I don't know how big of bow hunters you guys are. I'm just an equal opportunity hunter. If it's bow season, I'll be bow hunting. I'm not too proud to pick up the rifle once rifle season hits. I really just don't care. I just want to be hunting. Weapons kind of irrelevant to me. But
it's a tough question because this Saturday in Pennsylvania, you can hunt almost everything Pennsylvania has to offer in one day.
Really?
This Saturday, bear season is in. It's archery season. It's duck season is. Goose season's in. Fall turkey season's in. Pheasant season. Stock pheasant program is kicking. Small game is in. I could keep going. Like this Saturday is the one day of the year where you wake up in the morning and go, everything's in the truck. Where are we going? Like,
right.
What, yeah. So, you don't have to explain that feeling on it, obviously, to us. I know that there's a lot of listeners in the world that don't really know what that is. Now, I've never hunted elk, but I've hunted lots and lots of turkeys, so I know what it's like to talk to an animal and get it close to you and that feeling. But the feeling that you have out there archery hunting it's a mutual feeling. We get it, and You can't explain it. If you could explain it or bottle it, you'd be a billionaire. So.
Well, it's so miserably frustrating too. I mean, you spend a whole week hoping to get that one shot opportunity, and I mean, I could go to my deer lease and shoot a buck, maybe not my hit list buck, in probably 2 days, maybe 3, and then have hogs or turkeys or other stuff to shoot. But you put all this time and effort and basically have your whole life revolve around this 1 week. And I have 3 young kids, so there's plenty of guys that say, okay, I did my New Mexico elk hunt, now I'm going to go to Colorado, now I'm going to Idaho. Now for me, it's just I have 1 week that I can do it. And I've been lucky enough to have hunted elk the last 5 seasons and have killed 3 bulls. So I'm hooked. I can't imagine a fall where I don't go elk hunting.
So you do understand the addiction of not being able to think of anything else.
Oh my God, yeah, it's bad, dude. It is. My wife thinks I'm a freaking stark raving lunatic half the time, but she knew what she was signing up for. So,
my boss actually thinks that these headaches that I get are made up because I want to go hunting and I want to leave early. But I honestly think I get a headache because I'm concentrating so much on getting out to go hunting that I give myself a headache. The headaches, the headaches are real. I just want to go hunt.
Yeah. So we got this 700-pound animal on the ground, and you're high-fiving with your buddy, and I go with the same guy every year. He's got it's so weird because we're both from Texas, and he's got a freaking elk tattooed on his arm. I mean, so he's just, he's obsessed with it like me. And then the work starts, packing out a 700-pound animal. That takes quite a commitment as well, and that's why the gym's so important. Making the commitment to get strong enough to pack that thing out. So that's by far my favorite thing. Also, got to go pronghorn hunting a couple weeks ago. Shot a nice buck out in West Texas in the Panhandle. You guys know where Amarillo is. We're pretty close to that area. And
yep,
had a nice couple days of blue-winged teal hunting along the Texas coast.
How's the pronghorn? Like, I had the opportunity to take one in Wyoming, and
this will be a great conversation. I'm interested here. Yeah,
and again, that meat to me is one of the best things I've ever had, and
that's great to hear.
And have you had a chance to make yours yet? To cook it?
Absolutely, yeah. I've been fortunate enough to harvest 2. I don't go every year. In Texas, we don't have a draw that's worth. I mean, there's 4 tags for the whole state. Other than that, it's landowner tags. So I went with an outfitter buddy, and I will agree with you. It is so tender, such a mild flavor.
So mild.
I was blown away because there's so many misconceptions on that meat, right? People say, it's going to taste like sage, these nasty old goats, they suck, why would you ever eat one? I'll try to cook it tasted like a shoe. So my expectations were really low the first time.
Yeah,
cooked it, and I was like, my God, this is one of the best things I've ever eaten.
Yeah, it's phenomenal. Yeah,
I still there's nothing that tastes like it. Number one, it's that's what it is. It's pronghorn or antelope, and then I haven't had it for a couple years now, and I know in my head I can still know what that tastes like. I try to absorb every taste, every part of my ability to take in that.
That will never go away.
Yeah,
I can still taste Dall sheep from Alaska from 1997.
Yeah,
to me that was the best thing I ever ate. So
oh my God,
but
I'm jealous.
It doesn't go away.
Right,
you'll remember that forever till you get it back and you cook it again and go, yes, that's it. So
yeah, that was crazy. And so I love that. I love those pronghorn, and I haven't been able to go back there. That's a trip and a half for us to go.
It's wild that it doesn't taste like sage. When my brother Will here came back, he said that when he was hunting that he could smell sage all around him.
It was the sweetest,
So I would have thought the same thing, that it would have been sagey, but whenever Leanna made it, it was like,
And you're walking,
dude,
it's
this
like,
is what?
you know,
Yeah, it was
some
good.
kind of swanky nightclub or something.
Right.
Yeah.
Non-smoking. You know,
I think they're just a phenomenal animal for the fact that they run funny.
Oh, they're
I mean, I don't mean to be
blazing.
cartoonish about it, but they run stupid. They bounce or something.
Yeah.
They don't really run. So
It was crazy because they can clearly jump pretty high, but they want to go under every fence or through it. They don't want to go over it. It's very weird. Yeah.
When they run, though, it leaves this trail. You can see where they've been because it's just full bore and it's dusty, at least up in Wyoming.
Oh, yeah.
And it's
Yeah.
just this dust trail. It's one of the core things ever.
I want to.
Yeah, they're
I have
amazing.
I have to sidetrack because I don't know much about Texas. Hypothetically saying I've never been to Texas.
Hypothetically speaking.
I would like to know. So, in living in Texas, what are some of the great things that you can hunt and fish for in Texas? Like, and obviously anybody can get on the internet or read a book, but I want to hear it from you and your lifestyle. Like, what are some of the things that you like? Maybe not just in your neighborhood, but what are some of the things about Texas? Because
I live in a pretty urban area, so I live just north of Dallas, kind of in the suburbs, and there's no deer in my neighborhood. I mean, tell me about Pennsylvania. You guys have deer running around your neighborhood.
I couldn't cut the grass the other day because I had a deer laying in my backyard next to the driveway, and I didn't want to spook her. So I got geese that keep me up all night long because they're on the lake 100 yards from me, and they won't shut up. And they just taunt me because it's goose season.
Right.
But
we don't have that. Like probably 15 miles east of me or north of me, you start getting into deer. But there's just so many people here that they haven't been in Collin County where I live. And actually, they just opened up a season 4 years ago, bow hunting only, in Collin, Dallas, and Rockwell counties, which is like Dallas proper area. And in the first, oh my God, the deer that started getting killed when they opened it up, because these deer hadn't been hunted since the 70s. I mean, people were just killing these giant 180-inch bucks like it was going out of style.
Right.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
But yeah, so I have a lease in like around Wichita Falls, which is northwest of the Dallas-Fort Worth area, like 2 hours from the house, and then I have another one in Oklahoma, which is about 2 hours from the house. So I kind of split up my time when I'm not doing other out-of-town hunts between those two places. And I have some nice deer in each place. I'd say Oklahoma is kind of a hidden gem as far as there's lots of big bucks, and it's a very, very poor state. So like getting a lease, paying for, landowner access, not as expensive as on the Texas side, that's for sure.
Right.
But
it sounds
things that, we can hunt. No, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, you're good. I was just going to say, it sounds like you got to be committed, though, to love it and be addicted to it to hunt there, because you have to travel a little bit.
Oh, and you have to pay. I mean, generally speaking, unless you own your own land or are like best friends with somebody, people aren't dumb. Why would they not charge someone if they're willing to pay? It's supply and demand. You want to hunt? Okay, here. I think my Oklahoma place, I lease. I'm the lease manager. It's $7,500 for 900 acres split between 4 guys. So
right,
you do the math there, and then on the Texas side, I think I pay $1,800 for 500 acres, and there's 5 of us on it. So it's a commitment financially, and then you got to pay for corn and fuel, and but I want to raise my kids in the outdoors. What are my other options?
Right.
Yep.
I think the part that I misconcepted to you about Pennsylvania is we do have, like, on my way home from work, I hunt pheasants on the way home. Like, I'm truly blessed where I live. Unfortunately,
lucky.
There's not a lot of.
Got you a delicious bass.
Yes, there's a lot of. I made it out to be like there's deer everywhere around me, but being able to hunt them is a different story. There are a lot of private properties. However, on that note, like in Texas, do you have the religious the Mennonite people or Amish people in Texas.
No, but I think we have one of their stupid laws down here.
Yeah.
Like you can't buy beer until after noon on Sundays.
Yes.
Try not being able to hunt on a Sunday, Cable.
Well, cable around me, I live at a lake, which I was really blessed to find by accident. But I live at a lake, and around this lake, I have 6 Mennonite farms. They're all owned by the same father, and and all his boys run the farms. When a farm comes up for sale in our area, the Mennonites will buy it, and another boy will then run it. Many people in Pennsylvania may not know this. I don't know if I want to give it out, but they're really not allowed to not share their property by a religious standpoint. So if you ask for permission to hunt the property, they're actually kind of pressured to just say yes. Yeah. They're religious. They're supposed to share their land by their religious beliefs.
I wish we had some Mennonites down here.
So, but now
knocking on doors every day.
They do. If you screw up, but there's rules. I mean, you cannot not wear your shirt. You can't take your shirt off at your truck, especially in front of their wives. Things like that. Like there's some religious, because you can get kicked off their properties.
Bucky.
Yeah, you can't
guilty as charged.
You can't pee by your truck and have So, but they're really blessed people. They're very quiet in their belief system. I've got to know them personally. They're a little different, but they're really great people, and they're blessed to let you on their property because they don't hunt.
They love their catfish. They love Uncle Catfish.
Well, they like it when I throw hay bales and help with corn. And,
yeah.
But they're super quiet. Now we also have a religion up here called the Amish, but they do hunt, but also do share their properties. So there's a lot of that in Pennsylvania. So if you want to goose hunt or deer hunt or things like that, there are some places that you can go if you don't have the money for a lease.
You always have that risk of just knocking on doors and getting told no.
Well, that didn't happen when I was a kid. We talked about this before. When I was with my father, and you walked up to a farm, you drove up. The only thing you had to worry about wasn't being in denial, or wasn't being what's the word? Denied. It was, does the farmer have a dog when I get out of the truck? Can I hunt rabbits? Can I hunt groundhogs? Can I hunt deer? Sure, go ahead. Now it is a little tougher in Pennsylvania to gain access. So if you have a good place, like you said, your hidden gem to hunt in Pennsylvania, you really have something.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. But it's crazy here because, the people lease land up there like they do here. I mean, like I told you, the prices on my leases and mine are not even like anywhere near the upper echelon of what people will pay for a lease, especially the closer you are to, say, Dallas, Houston, or San Antonio. If you want to be within an hour and a half hour of those places, good God, you're going to be forking over $4,000 or $5,000 a person. Easy. Yeah.
I mean, people do have like hunting leases here in Pennsylvania, but it's normally clubs or groups of people. Most, I would say 85% plus of hunting privileges in Pennsylvania are still handshakes and friends through work.
Yeah, family owned land.
Yeah. Because
there's so many of us,
and we share our harvest with the landowner, and
Being the transplanted Pennsylvanian from the Midwest, what Pennsylvania has going for it is its state game lands compared to other states, guys.
Absolutely.
That is something I actually take a lot of pride in. When I purchased that hunting license, I'm helping conservation, helping hunters buy more land for public use. I love that idea, and that's unique, I believe, to this state. I've not experienced that anywhere else.
Sure, it's hard deer hunting on those properties. Not that there's not deer,
but
the land use is still prime land,
and it's public. Everybody can use it, and if you're willing to work hard, those places will produce for you.
They can produce, yes. Yeah. And what he's talking about is that, so around my house, too, we have these Mennonite farms, but also 30 minutes in every direction, I'm surrounded by just over 3,000 acres of game lands, and that's just my area. So if you want to get out and get away, even if it's not hunting season, just get away, look for deer tracks, look for deer rubs, sit under a tree, read a book. It's not hard to get away.
What's the Michaud?
Michaud is a state forest.
That's massive.
That's owned by the state. It was set aside to not be built on by the state. That's different than game lands.
Okay.
But that's 32,000 acres.
Right.
And that's just west of us. And that's actually also public hunting. Now, state forests don't have to open to public hunting, but all of Michaud, 32,332, some ridiculous big number of thousands of acres, is open to all public hunting.
Right.
And there's some monster bucks out there, but it's mountain country. It's Appalachian mountain country.
Right.
Cable, there are more hunters here in this state than there are in the entire country of Canada.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I look at the stats sometimes and like which states harvest the most deer and hunting license sales, and Texas is always number one, and then it's like Pennsylvania, it's or Michigan, I think, and Minnesota, but Pennsylvania
we always say we're number one, and Texas is number two.
I don't know if you have the facts straight on that, but
that's just what we say, not what the facts are. But
we don't go by
I know
facts.
You guys have an amazing hunting culture, and that so this guy that I've hunted on his ranch, he's a Pennsylvania transplant to Texas.
Cool.
He was telling me, he's like, it's so crazy up there, and he lived there 30 years. He's like, you go to work on Monday, and everyone's sitting around the water coolers like, did you get a buck? I got a buck. Did you get a buck?
Yep.
And it doesn't matter if it's like a 4-point or a 6-point or an 8-point. Doesn't matter. It's just, did you get a buck?
Yep. That's all that matters.
Here, everyone's like, how big was your buck? It's
we haven't really seen that in our culture in Pennsylvania, probably to the last 5 to 8 years. That's really come up. We had an antler restriction put in place in Pennsylvania with 3 to 1 side. DK, you're my fact checker. What was that, 7 years ago?
Yeah, I think that was around like 2004, 2005.
And since then, we have seen lots bigger bucks. But until then, if it was 3 inches, I mean, if it had a cigarette on top of his head, you could shoot it when I was a kid.
You put a ring on it.
Because Pennsylvania grew up as a heritage meat hunting state. When I grew up, I mean, it was deer liver and deer heart was like the staple of Grandma's dinner table.
And just a regular average 8-point was king.
Oh yeah, if you shot an 8-point of any size because it had 4 on either side, you did something.
That was real.
Yeah, it was real. Yeah, like you were the talk of the hunting camp for generations.
I have like 2 uncles that would just kill an 8-point every year, and they're gods. Yeah, in my mind.
They're hunting gods.
But you go to other states, you go anywhere else, but here, and they're just that's bless their hearts.
I honestly think that we need to have Cable back now that and talk about, because that's something really cool, man. It's like I would like to get a whole podcast to talk about like the traditions and way he grew up versus like Pennsylvania is. I'm not. There's so many little things that would be great to talk about.
The battle of the number ones.
I can remember every hunting season picking up my Uncle Rusty, him being ready on the porch with my dad's, the F-150 had that long one seat, what's it called, a big bench seat?
Yeah.
I had to sit in the middle.
The little extended cab.
And we would get up so early to be at Sheets's at 3 o'clock in the morning to get coffee just to talk to the other hunters, to be so psyched because, in Pennsylvania, we don't have school on the first day of deer season. It's a holiday. They shut it down. So,
that's awesome.
Yeah, like we don't even have school because no kids go to school, so they don't open school. It would be ridiculous.
Is it that, or is it that you guys can't hunt on Sunday, and so they're trying to give you an extra day?
That too, yeah.
It's probably double.
Was that a low blow? I'm sorry.
No.
That won't make the podcast.
I think he had steel toes on that kick.
All the powers on this end.
Yeah. No.
Say what you want.
But I love to learn the traditions and hear even more than I shot this buck or I got this turkey. Mm-hmm. Theirs are great, and I've seen millions of pictures on people's phones, and I love that. Mm-hmm. But I'm to the point now in my life where I love to hear, hey, my son got his first buck, or I like to hear the old stories of when I grew up, my uncle and me did this. We started our own here at Rutten River Pursuits. Now, after an amazing epic hunting day, Will actually has started, we sit down on the tailgate and don't just leave. We eat honey buns just to make it better. Mm-hmm. Just starting a tradition like our grandfathers did. I think the traditions of growing up through hunting in Pennsylvania, they're pretty deep. And I'd love to hear some of the other states like that because I know it's got to be just different.
Sure. When I think of Pennsylvania, I think of, like I said, rich deer hunting tradition. Everybody deer hunts. And I think of black bear and turkey. I mean, those are. You guys probably hunt other things too, but.
Squirrel hunting was huge growing up. I think every kid in Pennsylvania grew up shooting squirrels with 22 or a 410.
Yeah,
but then again,
I do like some squirrel gumbo.
Absolutely. Nice. I'm only rambling because I think we're up on time, and now my brain's like I got like 14 subjects I want to bring up.
Can I ask one question though, guys?
Go for it, Buck.
I have
what do you
to.
got?
Cable. What is on your bucket list though for hunting or fishing?
Man,
I have to ask that question.
That's a good one, and one that people ask a lot. I would say I've been fortunate enough to go to Africa the last 2 years. Going back this year, I'm not. This is having a hunting and fishing radio show and podcast is not a get rich quick scheme. So I'm lucky to trade that out like for advertising, and so I take some guys with me and I go for free. So that's been one thing that's been checked off the bucket list. But for me personally, Alaska is a dream. And
pretty nice up there.
Yeah, and so if I could say I want to shoot one thing in North America, it would be a Rocky Mountain bighorn sheep. But
that's a good.
I got 3 kids. Sorry, I just spent your college tuition $50,000 sheep tag.
Yeah.
So I'll keep putting in for the draws and keep my fingers crossed. But that's that would be the most epic adventure I think that you could possibly do.
Yeah.
In North America. And I'd be happy with any of the sheep, to be honest with you. But
I couldn't.
That's the one that I've seen on my elk hunting adventures and backpacking and grouse hunting. And so sometimes the ewes will even like come up to you and eat out of your hand at some of these mountain basins where there's lakes and stuff. The rams never do. They stay up, watch their ewes, but they're a little more wary. But yeah, that's just, I think that's such a majestic animal, and they live in the most hellacious places.
They do,
and I want to go there and kill one someday.
I was on a dog sheep hunt in '97 once. That we were closing a gap across underneath a hollow. Well, we call it a hollow in Pennsylvania. Up there, it's a canyon, and we were about 500 yards out. And I remember the cameraman back then. Just all he did was like let out this little tiny mouse sneeze. He even covered his mouth, and that's all it took. And you watched all seven of those rams, and they ran across that mountain like it would take you a month to get where they're gone. Ran in minutes
from 500 yards away.
And everybody just had that look on their face like, did you just do that? Like, really? We took 2 days to get up here and you just did that. But I never had the money in my life to go hunt Alaska either. I went and worked for an outfitter as a packer, and the experience
I've never been.
Experience is truly unreal.
Yeah. Well, and you asked bucket list, and I told you I want to go to Alaska, and then I followed up by saying I want to shoot a species that's not in Alaska. But anything in Alaska, moose, caribou, grizzly, you name it, I'm all in. Just that place just is like a thing of adventure, like the last great frontier, the allure. It definitely has been calling me for quite a few years, and I think I had a guy on recently that builds my rifles for me. He just got back from doing a DIY caribou, barren ground caribou hunt. All in for everything, he was $5,200, and him and 3 guys went and all got caribou. So 4 for 4. Yeah, and said it was an awesome hunt, and so that might be something. That might be my first.
That's
dipping my toe in, because $5,200. That's a nice chunk of change, but it's a far cry from $20,000 for a moose or for a grizzly or Dall sheep. Well,
let me know. I know a guy that may be able to slightly plan and help. You might have to carry me out nowadays. I used to be the guy to carry stuff out, but I can. I'd love to help.
Crazy thing, they all shot bulls, and they only ended up with 80 pounds of meat because grizzlies came in and just ransacked their meat stash every night.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
Even if you hang it in the trees. Yep.
Yeah. When they shot at it, not trying to kill them, but literally like 20 yards from them, these bears have no fear of people.
Nope.
They're overpopulated, and they're I mean, if you shoot one, I mean, you're going to go to jail.
Well, the second that you gut that caribou, the second you got it,
they're on it.
It's like it's an hourglass. You flip the sand glass over, and you hike a mile, you hike 3 miles, whatever the case may be, back to camp. You're covered in blood.
Yeah.
You took some pictures. I mean, it's such the most epic day of your life. You get back and you hang this. You hang in a tree downwind of camp, but all you really did was ring a ringer, for the next for 10 miles in any direction.
Yeah. Yeah.
Cable, to close out this episode, could you tell us a little bit about your podcast?
Yeah, absolutely. So it's basically things that I find interesting or that I think you would find interesting, whether that's a famous outdoorsman or writer or politician. Like my state's locked up in this epic, we call it a battle of good and evil. We've got a senator, an incumbent senator who loves the Second Amendment, and this guy who's got an F rating with the NRA, who's boasts about it. So we had on my guy recently talk about some stuff, and so you never know what you're going to get. Musicians, we're proud of our Texas country music scene, or kind of Americana outlaw music scene. These guys, what doesn't go with a campfire? I mean, what goes with a campfire better than country music and cold beer, right?
Right.
And just outdoor news in general, the big shakeup in professional bass fishing. You guys are probably aware of what happened there as far as the Elite Series splitting off to the Major League Fishing Bass Pro Tour.
Yeah.
That was kind of a big story. And so it's just really diverse. I'd leave it like this. I want it to be educational, entertaining, and conservation driven. Those are kind of my 3 pillars. And we have a good time doing it. Been doing it almost about 9 years now. So
cool.
That basically sums it up.
How do people subscribe to that or listen to it?
Well, they can check it out on iTunes. It's free. The website, LoneStarOutdoorsShow.com, and then on Stitcher. And I think I must be still living in like the Stone Ages because we're not on Spotify, but it's on my to-do list. I'm working on that. All right, so that's enough about me. What I want to know is where can I find you guys, because there's 5 of you sitting around the virtual campfire today. And I imagine there's probably just one Instagram and a website. So where can I listen to all of your content and follow along in y'all's adventures?
Well, you can search for us on any podcast app by searching Rut and River Pursuit Podcast. You can go to rutandriverpursuit.com. You can find us at Rut and River Pursuit on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and also check out the YouTube as Rut and River Pursuit Podcast.
Awesome.
That made me hungry, guys.
Oh, it definitely did.
You got to go to MF Jerky and grab yourself some jerky and use Jerky Pursuits 15 to get yourself 15% off your favorite jerky. Don't even buy anything else but the teriyaki, because that's what I like the most.
Moses Family Jerky. I just got my order. Just came in today.
You got a whack of coffee too.
Yeah, your ship came in.
My ship just came in.
Hey, Cable, it was great to talk to you. We're gonna have to have you back,
please.
Yeah.
Definitely, man.
Oh yeah.
I want to have
Hey, my pleasure, guys. I certainly enjoyed it, and like I said, it didn't take me 5 minutes of BSing with y'all to know we'd have a hell of a good time at deer camp. So
exactly.
one of these days.
Very good.
Amen. Thanks for joining us.
Well, thanks, man. We'll see you.
Take care.
Ring 'em weedless.
Trash Panda Hip Quiver.
Peace. Peace. Lucky.
There's not a lot of.
Got you a delicious bass.
Yes. There's a lot of.
The lightning bug population's down up here too.
Is it that, or is it that you guys can't hunt on Sunday, and so they're trying to give you an extra day?
That too. Yeah.
It's probably double.
Was that a low blow? I'm sorry.
No.
I didn't mean
that won't make the podcast.
I think he had steel toes on that kick.
All the power's on this end.
Yeah.